Okay, I'm going to get started. Could everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance. Okay, can I get a motion to open up the Monday, February 3rd Town Board meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Bingham will second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
All aye.
Richardson, aye.
Okay. Madison, Haley, I'm going to go over a few items first, and then we'll get to you, okay? All right. Madam Clerk, 2025 tax collectors notice.
So we have successful January. I believe last time I checked we were. Hello? So the other day when I checked, we were at 72% collected. For January, we are now in the February collection period, so please be sure if you're mailing in your payment that you're including the February penalty. If it comes to our office with the January amount, unfortunately, it will be sent back, and the closer you get to the end of February, you don't want to delay going into the March penalty amount. Tax payments get made out to the Town of Monroe tax collector. We ask that you include your phone number on your check. In the event that we do need to contact you, it just makes things a little bit easier. I have the notice posted. It's repetitive again. So we're looking for a smooth February.
Right. Item 3.3, winter weather reminders. Please keep in mind that there's no overnight parking on any Town of Monroe streets, so it hinders the ability of our plows to plow the roads properly. We did have one incident recently where we had to plow a trailer that was in the road for 3 snowstorms. We got no response. Obviously, as soon as it was towed, it was, we got a good response. So keep that in mind. Any questions about garbage, contact the highway garage, ask for Angie, and that's really about it with the winter weather reminders. Monroe Connect, Madam Clerk, you want to go over that? Anybody that's here, please be sure to sign up for the GoGov app that we have at Monroe.
So I have the QR code pulled up on the screen. There's also flyers on the corner of the dais. This is replacing Code Red. So if you previously signed up for Code Red, please be sure to sign up for our Monroe Connect. It's a very friendly, user-friendly app. You'll get notifications once you create an account and you sign up. You'll get notifications for things happening in the town. If there's a road closure, water main break, upcoming events, food truck festival, things like that. So just be sure with your smartphone to scan the QR code and create an account.
Okay, thank you. Orange County Mobile DMV will be once again at Town Hall on February 23rd. I'm sorry, 25th. Thank you. From 10 to 3:30. They close from 12 to 1. Remember, all registration transactions, all license transactions, including real and enhanced, and enforcement transactions. Thanks to Kelly Eskew for creating this and being very responsive to our needs.
And they also like us to remind people that there's no permit testing at the mobile DMV. Sometimes we get questions about that.
Next up, save the date, 2025 Clean Sweep is going to be Saturday, April 26th, beginning at 8 a.m. at St. Anastasia Church. There'll be shredding, tire recycling. We're going to have a major pickup of people walking around town to assist with picking up garbage. And they're doing, are we doing electronic recycling that day too? Yes.
Electronics, tire, and paper shredding.
Right. Okay. So that's going to be April 26th at St. Anastasia Church parking lot in Harriman, New York. Okay. We have a little acknowledgement that we would like to do this evening. So if we could go in front of the dais. Check. Okay. So this is a very, very heartwarming story for any of those who did not hear about it. It's truly inspiring to see young people take the initiative to step up and help others in need. The two girls, Madison and Haley Lindor, took that initiative for baking cookies for a family that lost their home in a fire. And to us, that shows empathy, kindness, and true community spirit, and what being a great neighbor is about. They raised nearly $2,000 to help the Beskawajani family who is here this evening, who lost their home in a fire, and that helped assist them with any immediate needs. I want you girls to come up now. Okay. Why don't you turn around, face the audience? You can come back, get closer to us. We like the warmth that you give off. So I just want to say God bless you girls for your efforts. It's extremely heartwarming that you made an impact in the lives of others and the Beskawajani family being affected by the fire. You have exemplified what parents want their children to embody. And thank you, parents, for raising, I know you got two others out there, 4 wonderful daughters. It's so heartwarming to see that the initiative that they took and the smiles on their face in the pictures I saw. And thanks to Julio, I know you kind of like oversaw what they were doing. And listen, you girls are great. On behalf of the town board, I'd like to present you, we would like to present you with a small token of appreciation that you both have worked so hard for. You got to open it up. We're gonna. Wait. There's more. Go inside. Open it up. That's your logo, right? Okay. So it's a baking apron. Did we get the names right? Yes. Okay. And it's got a making an impact pin from the town of Monroe. So we're going to put it on. We're going to take your picture with it. I don't want to mess up your hair.
I think I got it.
I don't want this in the picture. Rip that one off. You like them?
Yes. You guys look so cute.
Now, if you guys decide to turn this into a business,
You got to talk to him.
let's keep it local, all right?
And I would like to talk to you afterwards about possibly doing another fundraiser.
All right.
Okay?
Awesome.
All right, so can we get some photos?
Thank you.
So he said, Tony, what do you got there? He says, oh, he says, I got in contact with a couple of people that I know, which I know as well, and he came out with a box of clothing for us. This is the kind of supervisor that you have. He really earns a round of applause for showing concern for the family.
Well, Pete.
Any recommendations, George?
Okay. Thank you, everyone from Round Lake who was here, along with the Besco family. Appreciate it very much. Okay. The excitement of our meeting is over. Now the boring part comes. So, next up is the February 1st, January 21st minutes. I'll make a motion to approve the January 1st minutes.
I'll second.
Question.
Go ahead.
I had spoken to Valerie a little earlier because in item 7.10, 7.10, she always mentions that there was a discussion. I think it's kind of important to include that the Monroe Woodbury School District was also to be included in that, noted in that discussion. That was with the, with Woodbury for the traffic improvements.
Oh, for the traffic improvements, yes.
Right. So I don't know what the board wants to do, if
Make
they
a
we
motion.
just leave it.
Just make a motion to make that change.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to addend the minutes to include a mention that the Monroe Woodbury School District would also be included in that resolution.
I'll second it. Call the question.
Bingham, aye?
Scancarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Full abstain. Richardson, aye. Oh,
Okay. Item 5.1 is a general abstract 25-2, which I believe was the one that was not passed last meeting. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Monroe requests approval for abstract number 25-2, General Fund, containing checks 36226 through 36271 for $273,339.20.
full second. Discussion. This is exactly the same abstract. Doesn't look like that you've amended the WGBQ mileage visit. We talked about this. I had earmarked this. There's obviously a way that board members dispute vouchers and certain expenses, and I don't think that you're following the outlined procedures of this being flagged as not being included in that. And I had messaged the finance department asking that the voucher be sent to me so that I could do the work of presenting my case.
Actual overall election.
And I do have the recording of you on the radio. So
What date is the recording?
this is why I wanted to have this set beforehand, because, let me ask, because
Well,
I don't have the, my personal machine here, I just have the board and I just have the copy of the recording, so I can play you the recording,
Actual
or we
overall
could,
election for the thing.
which one did you go to? This is right
Did
before
you
the
have
election.
people on your,
It's either the
you're
end
running
of
for this
October
year
or beginning of
in
November.
Monroe?
No, the only person we have running is really Dory.
That's it, huh?
That's it. Nobody on our town board is up. It's a year without anybody being up.
Well, that's good. And
Yeah.
is Brabenek run in your area too, or no?
Yeah.
Oh, so he'll be on there, yeah.
Paul's running, yeah.
So you got a couple of choices
Yeah,
out
and
there.
I should say, and Tommy LaPola. Tommy LaPola's a great guy, real man and principal, and I think he would do an awesome job in the assembly, just as I do. Dory would do an awesome job in the Senate.
All right, so what we'll do is we'll take a, we'll take a break and throw it back to you.
So,
Actual.
that is what you said on the air, that was November 5th.
November 5th?
Yes.
Okay, so if you would have had this information last
I
meeting...
did have
and-
the information that I wanted to remove the November mileage and
and-
flag it.
And you would have researched it, you would
Researched
see...
it. I didn't know that the abstract was going to contain November mileage. I
I'm
asked
still
Let me-
specifically that
can
the
I-
check
can I-
be removed.
Can I put this to bed really quick?
I asked specifically that the check be removed so that I could investigate it.
Well, you should do that beforehand, and all I'm going to tell you is there was nothing put in for November 5th.
There's November mileage listed on there, and you responded
Not November
to me.
5th.
You responded to me, yes, it contains WTBQ. And that is
Yeah.
when I said, I would like to have this check removed, one check, and set it aside until we can investigate it. And
It
you
would-
didn't find that reasonable.
There was, I'm going to put it to bed. There was
Okay.
no, you just said it was November 5th, and there was no mileage put in on November 5th, number one. Number two, that's not my round table. That's the show before the round table, because Frank is never on my round table.
It doesn't matter. You expensed mileage to get to WTBQ according to
I
your
didn't
own
expense it
words.
because it was November 5th.
Tony,
Look
when
at the voucher.
I asked you
Look at the
very
voucher.
simply, I can't look at the voucher. I requested the voucher and the finance department won't give it to me.
The vouchers were in
I
the
cannot go-
boardroom waiting to be signed.
That's
You
not
have
how-
access
no, I
to
don't,
those. Yes, you
actually.
do. We sign
Dory,
them. Sal
you
and I
are
sit there
now
and
just
sign them.
yelling about something that is clearly, provably false. I personally have a certain circumstance that I did not have access prior to the meeting, and it's not to be discussed at a public board meeting.
And I'm
And
not
I
trying to discuss
requested
that.
that information, and Supervisor Cardone specifically said, yes, he expensed WTBQ in November, and I said, let's set this one aside and determine it. And then it was voted down. Then the entire abstract was voted down. And now you're saying November 5th didn't have mileage. Well, I have no voucher in front of me, even after specifically
All right.
requesting the voucher be
Okay.
digitally sent to me.
I'll leave it at this. There was no mileage placed on February 5th. I will get the voucher for you.
November 5th, thank you.
I would get the voucher for you after the meeting. I'm going to call the question, though.
I still, excuse me though, the real trouble is that you can't just decide when and when not you're going to expense the mileage for this show that we are expensing mileage to repeatedly, and use your formal position, and sometimes the taxpayer pays for it and sometimes we don't.
Never endorsed them. I said they do a good job.
That is just so ridiculous. To talk about
Call
political
the
and say
question,
that you
Mary.
support.
Bingham, nay.
You can't
Scangarello,
call
aye.
excuse me. You
Cardone,
can't actually-
aye.
Excuse
Poole,
me.
aye.
You can't actually call the question until my time has expired as a speaker.
I think it has.
No, you can't.
Are you voting?
I have not used my time.
You-
And I'm
you- I
entitled to
can-
the time outlined in the public meeting rules.
I'm running the meeting.
That's not how it works.
Yes,
You
it-
can't
yes, it
operate
is.
the meeting outside the bounds of the
I
rules
can,
outlined.
I can call the
No, you
question.
actually can't. Every time you've done that has been not allowable. It's not proper process.
Counsel, can you explain it to her?
Question's been called. I don't know what you mean. How much time?
I was speaking.
How much time do you get?
We get outlined, it's either 3 or 5, depending on what, I don't have it right in front of me, but it's,
Time was that you were just,
considering that there was a bunch of crosstalk and no one was actually complying to the meeting rules, I wouldn't be able to tell you.
From where this meeting just was 5 minutes ago to where you're taking it,
I'm
just,
taking it there?
we called the question, we voted.
can't do
You
that.
vote, and let's move on. These people
No.
do not want to hear this.
This is a public town board meeting, and my job is to conduct public
Hey.
town finance decisions. And the entire problem is that you've told us that we're financing a publicly beneficial state radio station visit, and we're paying for that because it's supposed to be educational. And if you're taking the position that you're using as town supervisor officially and using, dial-a-bus and all the problems that are going on in Monroe in your official position, and then endorsing political candidates, because yes, that's the definition of endorsement. I have a problem with that. I know that Councilwoman Bingham has a problem with that. You said that you would not do that. You did do that. I think that it's not
Not on
honest.
this show.
And that is my point and my time, which I am entitled to. Thank you.
Okay.
Richardson, nay.
Item 5.2 is General Fund Abstract 25.3. And that contains, hold on, sorry. It contains checks 36272 through 36349, totaling $729,072.73. I'll make a motion to approve that.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Pool eye.
Richardson, aye.
Okay. Next up is item 6.1, budget transfer abstract 24.2. Okay. Be it resolved that the Town Board of Town of Monroe approves budget transfer abstract 2024-20 totaling $59,796.94 for 2024 expenditure adjustments.
Pool second.
Call the question.
Discussion.
Go ahead.
There's an item on there for the legal contractual prosecutor, and the money's coming out of contingency. It says contingent account.
Yep.
So did we spend more than $77,000 for the prosecutor? Because we had budgeted $77,000, I believe, for the prosecutor. So does that mean we spent more than $77,000 for him, or we just didn't have enough revenue to pay the $77,000?
We spent more than that, but here's what I'm going to tell you, Councilwoman Bingham. The court actually told our building inspector, who was the one who was pleading the cases, that he is not allowed to do it anymore, that you have to provide your prosecutor.
Yes, that was decided, I think, 3 years ago.
No, not really, because Ben was doing it, I think, in '23. So what I will say is that Kevin had stated that approximately 40% of his fees relate to department and violations.
So we haven't been budgeting enough, is what?
We didn't budget enough last year because of the fact that Ben was disqualified from prosecuting the case, so to speak.
So that means we didn't budget enough in 2025 either.
Well, if we didn't, we didn't. That's what contingency is there for.
But we had this whole discussion about,
What did we budget in 2025?
in 2025, the adopted budget was $77,000.
Right. Now, when I spoke to Kevin on this, his take on it was there's going to be less court dates because of the
Okay.
reduction, so he felt it should be sufficient.
Well, it would have been useful to have had this information at budget time, simply because I pulled up page 3 of the adopted budget, and as of November, we had a year-to-date total of $76,160. So it would have been very useful at that time, when we were voting on the budget, to know then that there were still vouchers that must have been outstanding, because if now we have to do a transfer of $36,000, you can understand my point.
I do understand it, but understand where it's coming from.
I think lack of management is where it's really coming from, to be honest. That's $36,000 you didn't budget for, and you didn't budget for it in the future, and you knew about it 3 years ago. So I guess we just call the question now, because it's unavoidable.
Didn't know about it 3 years ago.
2 years.
And based on our conversation with the prosecutor, we did budget correctly. The budgeted amount for 2025, it was in light of knowing that the building inspector cannot appear in court for building violations.
Right, because in 2023, the adopted budget for the prosecutor was only $38,000. So roughly $40,000 is going for town ordinances with the building inspector.
And we
That's
should be
40% of
able,
100.
Yep.
we should be able to have the building inspector do the work that he's supposed to do in the court. That's what we should be able to do. And not have the prosecutor do that work.
It's not
I
legal.
believe 2 years ago, Mr. Nugent gave an opinion that a building inspector can't represent himself. We have a prosecutor who does that. Am I misremembering? I'm sorry. It is 2 years ago.
2 years ago, that generally may be the court's position. Obviously, he's not an attorney, but in reality, in some courts, like police officers plea down tickets, the state police ended up saying it's improper and they stopped doing it, but other law enforcement agencies still do it today, where they kind of line up and go through the pleas with the officer. So I don't know if it's an outright prohibition, but if this court says, they want a prosecutor doing it, then that's within the court's discretion.
And it
Okay, it's
also,
the court's discretion. Thank you.
They can actually mandate it, or it's just an ask. If it's this much expense, I think that's worth differentiating.
And can the court
They
mandate?
can mandate it, or it's just an ask, yes, the
No,
court.
I think the court, if they say you have to have a prosecutor, that's the determination of the court. You can't.
I don't think that our court would make an ask that wasn't at least in their opinion, the law. But the two scenarios you described is, one is the court mandating it, and another is a body governing itself, right? The state police deciding that it's their own policy not to represent themselves is different than a court saying the state police can no longer represent itself, right? So are there other municipalities who currently have building inspectors representing themselves?
I believe so.
So can the court really mandate that? And I mean, that's your opinion sitting here. Is that worth looking into, and
Board would like, I can look into it. I do believe a court, if they say, we want a prosecutor here, I mean, the court's the one sitting on the case. So if the building inspector shows up and she says, I want a prosecutor here, and doesn't hear the case.
well, they're a judge, so they have to also follow the law. So if there's nothing lawfully stopping our buildings inspector, I mean, they might recommend that, hey, for whatever reason, we see it best fit that, or we misread something, we believed it to be X, Y, and Z. I mean, a conversation for over $40,000 is, I think, worth having a little bit of research to see, can they actually require it, or is it just a misunderstanding or an ask?
you guys have to leave because the kids have to do their homework and go to bed. Please don't hesitate.
I'm tired.
Yeah, so if the board wants to look into it, again, I don't know of the mandate from this court, and I don't remember the question being raised 2 years ago. I'm not saying it wasn't. So if it's something you want to look into, but if the court has the discretion to do it, yes, they can mandate it. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, Yes, if they have the discretion to do it, they can mandate it. We want to know if that's true.
Board want me to review that?
Over $40,000, I would make a formal motion
I
that we
would-
please investigate that.
Listen, I think possibly speaking to Kevin first and getting his thoughts on it, yeah, because I do believe it also puts us at a disadvantage because the building inspector is the one that truly knows the codes.
Right.
And Kevin having to now speak to Ben about the specific code and get the interpretation, you know, that's adding to the cost as well.
Double
I'll get
everyone's
the
time.
background from Kevin and then report back to the
Yeah,
board.
that's
Thank you.
fine. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank
Call
you.
the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Poole, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Okay, abstract 20. No, it's. That?
2421.
2421. Abstract 2421. Be it resolved, Town Board of Town of Monroe approves budget transfer abstract 2024-21 totaling $34,921.87 for 2024 expenditure adjustments. I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Poole, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Budget transfer abstract 24-22. Be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Monroe approves budget transfer abstract 2024-22 totaling $32,190.63 for 2024 expenditure adjustments. I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Poole, aye.
Aye.
Budget, item 6.4, budget transfer abstract 24-23. Be it resolved that the Town Board of Town of Monroe approves budget transfer abstract 2024-23 totaling $28,250.72 for 2024 budget, expenditure adjustments. I'll
Bingham
make,
will second.
call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Poole, aye.
Richardson,
Okay, item 7.1, cash transfer abstract 2025-01. Be it resolved that the Town Board of Town of Monroe made a motion to approve abstract number 2025-1 in the amount of $5,265,000 for cash transfers to the investment fund.
Bingham's discussion. Again, there are numerous water districts that are included in that transfer to New York class investments. I just want to be sure that specifically Water District 12 and 1, and possibly even 8, that money will be available with work that, and bonding that needs to be done.
It's liquid. That money is liquid.
It is, okay, so we'll have that, thank you.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Poole, aye.
Richardson, aye.
So moved. Item 8.1 is Michael Jacoby Recreation Aid. Resolution approving Michael Jacoby for the seasonal position of recreation aid at an hourly rate of $20 and a start date of February 5th, 2025. Employment period not to exceed 9 months. Michael has been pre-approved for employment by the Orange County Department of Human Resources.
Poole will second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Poole, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Okay. Next up is a vacation carryover extension. This is a discussion regarding an employee request to extend the time period for use of her 2024 vacation carryover days. Noreen McSweeney is requesting the use of carryover time from March 31st through April 4th, 2025. The Town Board passed the following resolution at the December 2nd, 2024 meeting in regards to this matter. Be it resolved that the Town Board of Town of Monroe made a motion to approve the following employee vacation carryover request per Section 802 of the Town of Monroe Employee Handbook. All approved carryover days must be used by March 31st, 2025. I will make a motion to approve that extension.
Bingham will second.
Really?
Call the question, please.
carry over initially, that's why.
Because if she doesn't take it, you're going to have to hire a stenographer or somebody to do the minutes. So we're actually saving money. So,
Okay, call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Poole, aye.
Just to reiterate, this is a good benefit to have for employees, and there's no problem with us having it, and I hope Noreen has fun, so Richardson, aye.
Okay. Item 8.3, I'd like to table to next meeting because one of the applicants could not make the interview last week, and we're conducting it this week.
What is that, 24?
Item 8.3.
Delaying it?
Table.
Tabling
Yeah.
it.
February 24th.
Yeah, till the February 24th meeting.
I'll second that.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Poole, aye.
Aye.
Okay, item
Can you
8.4.
send us their materials, please, in the meantime?
Item 8.4 is an intermunicipal agreement, dial-a-ride, Town of Woodbury. Be it resolved, Town Board of Town of Monroe.
I should make this motion.
Yeah, you should. I just realized that. You should make the motion.
So-
And the next one.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we authorize the Supervisor Cardone to sign the IMA with the Town of Woodbury for dial-a-ride services from January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2025. 2025.
I'll second.
Just keep in mind that the updated IMA reflects 2 service days, which adds another $7,980 to the contract. So the total rate annually is $15,960. You seconded it? Yep.
Call the question?
Bingham, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Poole, aye.
Richards,
Okay.
I'd also like to make a motion authorizing the supervisor to sign the 2025 contract for fire protection to the Town of Monroe Fire Protection District.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Poole, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Item 8.6 is an amendment to the annual engineering agreement. You have to do that too, Dory, because I got to sign it.
Okay.
Same contract, the rates 7%. That, everything is the same. And let me repeat that, the rates went up about 7%.
And this is, I don't have an attachment for this.
Here.
One other note, the MS4 is going to be included in that new agreement?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
The MS4 will be in the new agreement. And the agreement is with which engineering company? It's not MHE, okay. So I'll make a motion that we authorize the supervisor to renew the contract with MHE for a one-year extension, which will include general task orders and the approval of the MS4 Task Order 25-01.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Poole, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Okay. Next up is some discussion. We could also approve it this evening, which I'd like to do to get things moving.
That's not here.
Item 8.7, Highview Road Drainage Survey Proposals. 3 requests were sent out by MHE, 2 responded, and you have the cost of Rinaldi and MNTM. There's a $100 difference if you get everything up regarding the easements. I spoke with Sean today. Sean recommended we go with Rinaldi because he thinks they'll also be more responsive. And they have put in a date for March 3rd, I think, to start the project. March 3rd, 2020. Obviously, weather permitting. So,
Says in this email, they thought Rinaldi was going to be the better total cost. was that a phone call?
I said that regarding the easements,
Right.
because
I'm- you then-
there's 8 easements.
I know. I'm asking about you said they'd be more responsive, and I was asking if that was a phone call, because that's not in this email, about the information from Sean's recommendation about Rinaldi. It only says about the costs, is my point. I'm asking you a question. Was that a phone call about Rinaldi? I'm just curious.
Between me and Sean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So, I think you'd have to make this motion, Dory, because I'd have to sign.
So I will make a motion authorizing the supervisor to go into contract with Rinaldi Land Surveying for work to be done in the Highview Drainage District.
Bingham will second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Pool eye.
Okay, so moved. Pete, I'm going to get to you after 8:10, all right? So 8.8 is the Monroe Commons Land Bank Parking Agreement. Council, would you like to explain that?
Yeah, this is through the planning board. It was a condition of the approval on this project. And so one of the requirements was that they enter this agreement, and the town board approve it and authorize you to sign it. And basically, I think in the attachment, particular questions, but it's included in your agenda.
Okay. So,
I'm sorry, this is for parking, I should say.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'll make a motion approving the land bank parking agreement for Monroe Commons, along with the bond amount as recommended by MHA, the town's engineering firm, per the planning board resolution below. You'd like for me to read that resolution?
If you want, just the be it resolved portion.
Okay, I have that. I have that here, yeah. I had it pulled up. Okay, be it resolved. In consideration of the mutual promises and covenants contained herein, and for other good and valuable consideration, the receipt and sufficiency of which are hereby acknowledged, the party agrees as follows.
I'm sorry, that's actually the agreement.
Yeah, it's.
That's the agreement itself. I don't know if you
I
ever.
think it's.
Go down to the whereases.
Right? It's just.
I just read that.
No, but that's, what you're reading is the agreement itself. So I don't
So
know.
you want me to read pursuant to section 57-47
Well, I don't know if you have a resolution formally. Is
of
there
the
a?
Town of Monroe zoning code prior to the
think we
signing
have
of the
it.
plans?
Don't have it.
I
It
don't-
have it
just
then.
says resolution approving the land banked parking
That's
agreement.
it, that's all I
Yeah, I
have.
think what's in board docs will be the resolution.
Yeah.
but
So
that
this
document
I don't
is
think
not
you
the
were reading
resolution.
story. This piece, just this, just be a
That's,
result.
I read that already.
Yeah, I think that's sufficient. That first
Yep.
two
Just
lines
this
is good.
and this is what he's saying.
Yeah, that's what I read. I read that.
But
All right.
So,
Read it again. Just read it again.
be it resolved that the town board of the town of Monroe approve the land banked parking agreement for Monroe Commons, along with the bond amount as recommended by MHA, the town's engineering firm, per the planning board resolution below. And then I asked, do you want me to read the planning board resolution?
Yeah, I thought there was a full resolution you were referring to.
Okay.
So that's fine.
We're good.
So it's just,
Just that.
That's
and
it.
then we're,
Councilwoman Richardson, let her talk, please.
she's done talking.
Mary, did you second?
I'll
So
second.
That's the.
I think I did,
She
yes.
did. Mary seconded. So, call the
Call the
question.
question.
Bingham, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Pool eye.
Richardson, aye.
Okay, next up, item 8.9, Solitude Lake Management Agreement for Round Lake. The total cost in the annual contract this year is $26,432.58, which is a 3% escalation in the annual contract price. So I'm going to make a motion to approve. No, you got to make it.
I got to do this one too.
Yeah.
So I will make a motion approving the continuation of the contract agreement with Solitude Lake Management for the 2025 treatment of Round Lake. The town board authorized this agreement in 2021 with a 3% escalation to the annual contract price each year. So the annual contract cost for 2025 will be $26,432.58. And with that resolution, I will also add that we are authorizing the town supervisor to enter into this agreement.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Poole, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Item 8.10, Town of Monroe landfill 2025 annual post-closure monitoring proposal.
I make a motion that we authorize the supervisor to sign the proposal submitted by Sterling Environmental Engineering, PC, to conduct the annual Town of Monroe landfill post-closure monitoring program. The estimated cost for the 2025 program is a total of $9,645, which is broken down for water quality monitoring, explosive gas survey, laboratory analyses, which include 9 samples and 1 trip length, and then data evaluation, which will include preparing a report and the Region 3 annual report form.
It's the same cost as it was last year.
Bingham will second.
Call the question. Sorry.
That's okay.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Poole, aye.
I didn't get to question of whether we can submit this for, I think it's just land.
We
processing.
called the question. There's no
No.
discussion.
Well, I can speak before I vote, as well as many of you have done, and the question remains.
Okay,
We should put this,
Let's
please
move
just
on.
stop.
Legislator Tui,
Nope, I'm
could you
still
come
in
up,
the middle
please?
of voting. This is just completely
Come on
ridiculous.
up.
You should put this cost through a landfill program grant, because there are many circulating at this time. Richardson,
Evening.
aye.
Oh, no, you got to turn it on. Don't clap. Just push it up.
Here it goes. It's on?
Yep, you're on.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I want to thank the board for allowing me this time to speak this evening. I just have a few quick things. I'm going to be quick because I think I'm catching what everybody else around the county, the state, everywhere you go, somebody's sick.
Speak into the mic. Maybe if you want to hold it, it might be better.
So first off, I just want to I have a little update on the sewer expansion for the Harriman wastewater treatment plant. I also want to touch on the airplane park odor complaints, and also the oxygenation project in the village of South Blooming Grove. All environmental requirements like seeker final environmental impact studies have been done and met in the fourth quarter.
Bring the mic closer to yourself.
After about 5 years of working on the expansion and the longevity program. Since then, we have moved forward now to the design phase, which is a huge milestone. So that's going to, include things like more regulatory requirements, what we will need to do, cost analysis, and also with the beginning of the actual applying for grants and applications for the funding of the plant and the longevity. Major grant opportunities applications. We have a number that we're working on right now that'll be submitted in May. And then from there on, as they come out, we're going to be going and going and going with this, because this is going to, they're hoping to start breaking ground in a little over a year, possibly, if everything goes along well. I invite anyone to join the Orange County Sewer District #1 meetings, which are held on the third Tuesday of the month in the Legislative Statutory Committee Room in the County Government Center at 2 p.m. Also, it's live streamed on the county website under the Legislative tab. Next, just in regard to Airplane Park, Orange County Sewer District Number 1 has recently taken precaution measures to ensure safety for our residents in the area of the airplane park in the village of Monroe. And I'd just like to take a moment to read this. This is what I got last week. The subject is the engineer report for H2S gases, hydrogen sulfide gas levels. As part of Orange County's ongoing efforts to address the hydrogen sulfide odor complaints, they are providing you with a weekly graph of the H2S gas readings inside manhole number M7, and that's included in the report. It will be updated as to the actions taken to mitigate future hydrogen sulfide gas from the manholes, which are located in the side of the behind the park at the airplane park by the ponds in the mill pond. This communication is intended to keep the relevant communities informed about the levels inside the collection system, fugitive gas emissions and odors in the area, significantly within the village of Monroe. As part of our continued efforts to address the issue, we're supplying this information so that the village of South Blooming Grove, as well as the town and village of Chester, can use it, their treatment, odor, and corrosion control. Corrective action on Thursday and Friday, January 23rd and 4th. Manholes M8 and M7 frames were replaced with locking lids. These frames and lids have a neoprene seal. The replacement of these frame and lids will ensure and eliminating the release of fugitive gases in conjunction with the carbon in the manhole filters that were also replaced. And they do that on a pretty fairly regular basis. On January 28th, they will start monitoring ambient air levels of hydrogen sulfide near the manholes M10, M7, and M5, 1 day a week for 4 weeks. After 4 weeks, sampling will be released to the required frequency. This ambient air sampling will be done according to a report, thank you, to a report submitted to the New York State DEC in 2024. Recently, in July of 2024, Chester Pump Station had a control board failure of their oxygenation system, had to operate the system in manual mode at the same time and replacing the pump. The resulted lack of oxygenation for about 3 weeks, then reduced the treatment until January 6th of this year. As can be seen in the attached graph, when the new controls were installed, the levels were reduced by about 50%. So the key thing there is that when the system's working, it can be reduced. And we all know that because the odor is there sometimes and not all the time. In conclusion, the county will continue its efforts to implement odor control solutions in Airplane Park and surrounding areas. At the same time, it is essential that both the village and town of Chester and the village of South Blooming Grove take necessary steps within their own systems to reduce the hydrogen sulfide levels and odor complaints in coordination with the actions that the county is taking and in ensuring the health and well-being of the residents. That was signed by Michael Ward. He's a senior sanitary engineer. And the good thing is that they're going to take their readings now, and the readings that they get, they are in the manhole. It's actually it's not outside. It's actually when they open the manhole. Mind you, that the DEC has never and still does not require the county. I'm surprised, but they don't require reporting of hydrogen sulfide levels to the DEC. However, as part of the county's ongoing efforts to address the hydrogen sulfide odor complaints, there will be weekly updates as to any actions taken, odors that often come and go. Last week, as I said, they started monitoring the air levels. They'll do that for 4 weeks. These will be coming out weekly. They go to the municipalities, the mayors, supervisors, and you should be getting that too also, Supervisor Cardone.
I did receive him this afternoon.
Okay.
And he apologized for keeping me off the thread.
That was an oversight.
Yeah.
It is vital that the Village of South Blooming Grove and the Town of Chester take all the necessary steps within their own systems to reduce hydrogen sulfide levels and odor complaints in their partnership with the actions that the county is taking. That means their systems need operational. That means their systems and operational equipment in full working condition and the necessary supply of chemicals to make this work. What I've also found out is that, and this could be a reason why it comes and goes, we have the oxygenation in Chester. We don't have it in Village of South Blooming Grove. And when they run out of chemicals, I don't know how you can run out of chemicals. You have to order in time and have supplies of these things on hand. But then if they'll run out, let's say on a Thursday, say, oh, we have a delivery coming on Tuesday. That means it's not being treated for 5 days. And I'm no engineer, but I mean, that's when the stuff spikes and we get the real bad odors. One other thing too is that an update on the oxygenation system from our new, which had proven in 2022 that an oxygen system installed in the Village of South Blooming Grove, working in conjunction with the oxygenation system already utilized in the Town of Chester, would bring down hydrogen sulfide gas to a minimum, thus resulting in the elimination of the odors experienced in the village of Monroe for over a decade, and that's a light number at least. I have also recently, or I have said here recently that I can not speak to the motives and intentions for any other municipalities, including your own, as far as actions they may or could take. I will say that I met with the two mayoral aides over in the Village of South Blooming Grove in an effort to, again, restart this effort to get that oxygenation system put in. I met with them yesterday, and it's, like I said, I can't deal to their emotions and intentions, but it seems that an unrelated issue to the oxygenation, it's a completely different issue that I cannot at liberty to go into now, that it's until that is resolved, they won't do it. They said that when that other issue is resolved, they'll order the new system that day. And I can't, like I said, it's not at me to liberty to go speak about it.
Ask a specific question, or do you want?
Why don't you wait till the end? One other thing, too, is that Maureen, Ms. Richardson,
It's Councilwoman.
Councilwoman, okay? I'm glad you can straighten me out on that. You know, I just want to say that it's your First Amendment right to say whatever you want. But when you say it and it involves me, when I particularly take it at heart, because I have a very good reputation, and the thing is that when you say something, I end up getting people, because I'm not involved with any social media.
You're literally a member of my group,
Excuse me,
Orange County
let him
Legislator
finish
2A.
speaking.
Excuse me? I didn't
You're
hear
a
you.
member of the social media group that you're referring to. You're a member of it.
I'm not a member of Preserve Monroe.
You joined it.
I did not.
I can.
If I
All
did,
right,
I was
guys, listen. Councilwoman Richardson, let him,
did, I was hacked.
let,
People
let,
say-
Pete, hold on. Let him finish.
All right. Let me just pull something up here. Oh, shit, now it's not coming up. Hold on one second.
You're going to make us wait for the social media aspect when I had a question about the
No, I'm
ANU
not. It's
system.
Councilwoman Richardson, let
I have
him
a question about the
finish.
ANU system specifically.
Yeah, you asked me, and I said,
Yeah.
would you wait till the end?
Well, now you're going off into this social media aspect,
I'm
which is a
not.
completely different
I'm not
topic.
pulling that up.
Okay.
Now all of a sudden it's not coming up, but I do have it on my cell phone.
What does it pertain to?
You know what it pertains to is that Ms. Richardson repeatedly reports about dangerous levels. And she also misleads her narrative, always trying to strike fear in our residents. And the thing is that then to the extent that where you call me and tell me that, or you say that I am a liar, and
To me, that's not the language I used. So now you're standing at a public meeting using more inflammatory words than I would have used on a social media post. And I find that very ironic.
Pete, where are we going with this? So,
This
I'm gonna
is
cut to the chase. This is
unprofessional.
it, and I'm done.
As per usual.
When you called, when I was claimed as false, and that when my statement about proprietary information for the NR
It was false.
Okay,
It was
may I
incorrect.
approach the board to show you
yeah,
something?
sure.
This is from their website.
This is like not obviously I received the results, legislator.
Yeah, I know.
So whatever you're showing us from your cell phone, which I really can't see from here, I'm glad that you had that impression.
All right.
It was a false impression.
That's it? All right, thank you
I'm
very
not
much.
done.
To the board.
Thank you very much.
Can we go down the line because I have obvious comments about the situation? So are we going down the line? Can I begin? How are we doing this? Okay.
Go ahead.
One of my questions specifically was about the new system that you said that the Village of South Blooming Grove has not ordered their new system. However, I've seen foiled documents that seems to indicate that they have the new system, attempted to install it and turn it on, and then experienced consequences
That's false.
perhaps unrelated to a news technology, but there was then a infrastructure issue that there are emails about. So I don't know, they've not ordered it at all? They haven't
No.
purchased it?
They
haven't
told me that when the
installed
other
it?
issue is resolved, that they will call up and order it the day that the other issue is resolved.
So they haven't even put in the order? So,
No.
okay.
And also, you said that the town, that we taxpayer money paid for that test to prove it back in the day. That was a deal done with the Village of South Blooming Grove.
Yes, the
and I don't even-
taxpayer dollars.
They didn't, I don't
Peter,
think they
Peter,
even paid it.
it's now my time, and if we're gonna do this, we should go one at a time and one question at a time. So,
I'm gonna, before you go, I'm gonna
yeah.
say this. If it gets out of hand.
well, I'm trying
gonna-
to make it walk
Let me
back.
finish.
I'm just assuring
Please,
you
let
that
me
I hear
finish.
you.
If you get out of hand,
I get
or
out of hand.
legislator Tui gets out of hand, I'm gonna stop it.
Okay, that's fair. I'm trying to make it not. So, once again, how I posed the question to you, first of all, in person, when I had seen you, I said, can I get a copy of the results that you just said have been out there since 2022? There have also been results according to those new reports, which I received as a FOIL from around 2012. So there's been different results, all of which have been paid for by taxpayer dollars. That is, there's a stipulation of open meetings law, FOIL, all of that, which even if some information can't be revealed in intergovernment agency communications, that specifically statistical results, which is what I had asked for, are always disclosed.
Are always what?
Disclosed. When I had asked you for the results, you told me that the entire thing was proprietary, and you made particularly personal comments about I should reach out to the Monroe Gazette because he was irritating you with his foils. I have no
What are you
need
talking
for
about?
interpersonal
What are you
issue
talking
with you, Legislator Tui. I wanted the facts. You did not provide them. And the fact is that your assertion that the information was proprietary was not true.
I have a question
You
for you.
might believe that,
have a
but you
question
were
for you.
wrong. So it's more than fair to say that you were wrong.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
When you get advice from counsel, you can take it or not. And depending on if you take it or you don't, there could be other ramifications legally if you do. So when I got information saying that the information was proprietary, and then I from an attorney, a legislative attorney, I took it as it's proprietary. So I'm not going to release one bit of it.
And it was
'Cause that
false.
could cost the taxpayers more money when we get sued for letting some trade secret out.
When I
or
called
a
you
trademark.
at your office and you didn't indicate that you'd spoken to any attorney, and the attorney's advice was
You
false.
were in the
Is
office
that
that day.
asserting that it was a lie? No, it's
All right,
asserting
I
that
don't-
it was wrong.
One last thing. You were in the office once, and you came up there trying to lobby for a chip factory.
Supervisor
over by the-
Cardone, I
over
motion
by
that
the
we
thing. You were there
silence.
with,
All
you
right,
were there
I
with
got it.
another
This is
guy.
not, listen.
We're done.
This is not productive,
done.
so let's,
You take
let's call it
everything
quits.
personally, and I think you
Okay.
just showed that.
Next item on
Thank you.
on the agenda.
And,
Thank you, Legislator Tui,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Feel better.
Feel better. Item 9.1, the Employee Handbook. I'll make a resolution adopting the updated sections 802 through 804 of the Town of Monroe Employee Handbook, changing the wait period for full-time new employee paid vacation, sick and personal leave from 6 months to 6 months of continuous service to 3 months of continuous service to align with the current 3-month wait period for benefits eligibility. The employee handbook will be updated accordingly. I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Call it.
Question. I thought we passed it at the January 21st meeting on resolution number 69.
Yeah, why is this back on?
So
Did we?
is there
Yes.
some?
I spoke to Jen about this. I think this was actually adopted.
It was adopted?
This resolution to adopt it.
Okay.
So what did the resolution last month?
I made the motion, and when Cardone left the room to get a drink, and I just read what was in there, and I just said, be it resolved that we incorporate the changes outlined in, at that time it was like 7.2, so I just read the agenda. Should be in the minutes, right, Val?
I'm pulling the minutes up right now.
Item 7.2.
Was resolution number 69.
1.6.
7.6.
So Resolution 69 was, be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Monroe made a motion to approve sections 802 to 804 of the Town of Monroe Employee Handbook and proposed policy revision to change the wait period for full-time employees' paid vacation, sick, and personal leave from 6 months of continuous service to 3 months of continuous service to align with the current 3-month wait period after benefits eligibility. So this one was to approve the sections. This resolution here, I believe, is to adopt that update.
The handbook.
Correct.
Yep.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Call a question?
Bingham, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Full aye.
Richardson, aye.
So moved. Okay.
I'm sorry, who seconded that motion?
Mary did.
There.
Thank you.
Okay, item 9.2, the Code of Ethics Training. I'll make a resolution approving the revised annual Code of Ethics certification and disclosure statement forms. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Full aye.
Richard,
Okay, next in that, that was kind of A, this is B. We have a resolution to approve the proposal for ethics and training and consulting services to be provided by Stephen G. Leventhal of Leventhal, Mullaney, and Blinkoff LLP at a cost of $950. That cost in 2018 was $750. So I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Full aye.
Richardson, aye.
So moved. Public comment?
Rhonda Avila. Please note you'll have 3 minutes for public comment.
Hi, Rhonda Avila, 18 Berry Road.
Could you lower the mic? Turned on? Just speak into
I think
it.
It's on.
Okay, it's on.
Okay, so after Canada had all its fires and Greenwood Lake had its fires, LA had its fires, and 2 years ago, Berry Road had a fire in the woods. I would like to know who's in charge of our fire hydrants in the town and the village. Do they get inspected, and when was the last time they were inspected? How many fire hydrants do we have? Are they in working order? And how many are in need of repair? On Rye Hill Road right now, as you're coming up into the Briar Cliff, Alex Smith Road, there's one fire hydrant that has a plastic bag over it. I think somebody's looking into it or doing something.
Which side of the road is that?
Right-hand side of the road.
Coming up?
Going up?
Coming up.
Okay.
Then, a little further up between Alex Smith Road, which is Briarcliff, and High Ridge Road, there's a fire hydrant that's kind of built into the sediment and the hill of the thing. So all you see is the top of the fire hydrant. I wanted to know about that. That's the last one, and then it goes into High Ridge. And then further up, of course, there are no fire hydrants going further up. Summer is right around the corner. Fireworks and lack of water, drought are a given. Every town in the United States has been given the chance to reevaluate their fire hydrants, their water supply, just wanted to make sure that those fire hydrants in our town and village are actually working. When the last time they were inspected?
So when you say inspected, I mean,
When you
they,
open it up and make sure water comes out, that
Well,
there's
yeah.
no broken,
So-
how long have they been in the ground that the corrosion and pipes have deteriorated? You don't want to turn it on and say, oops, there's no water because it's been in there for 100 years.
So here's what I'll tell you. Are you done? Is that
Yes, yeah, that's
okay?
about it.
So the first one is definitely in the village, the one you said with the bag on it, if it's on the right side of the road. The second one, I'm going to say I'm 75% sure that's in the village, because if it's on the Briarcliff side, all of Briarcliff is in the village.
And High Ridge too?
And no, High Ridge is not in the village. And I know that if Pat was here, he could speak to it, but I know that all our hydrants are tested, they're flushed continually, and I would say that I will speak with Pat tomorrow, and then I will get back to you.
Just the public, you could put a notice out in the photo news or something saying that, the fire hydrants are, it was pretty scary with Greenwood Lake, and you want to make sure that there's enough pressure in those
Sure.
hydrants.
So the town and the village will send out emails. If you're signed up for the GoGov or the Constant Contact or the Code Red or the new one, Monroe Connect, you'll get emails letting residents know when hydrant flushing is happening. And for the village of Monroe, from my experience of my time on the village of Monroe, that happens twice a year, once in the spring and once in the fall. They flush through to get all the gunk out so that you don't have those kinds of issues. So that work is being done.
Okay, I had no idea.
I just wanted to say something. It also depends on the water district. I live in 12. I do not have hydrants. The fire department will come with their pumper trucks. Because we've had fires in my development as well over the years. And they know, yes, you're not far from me. So they do know what areas have village water, which will have better pressure. They know what are the smaller systems that, you may have a fire hydrant there, you're not going to get water out of it, but they know to bring the pumper trucks.
And just so you know, I'm going to say that Greenwood Lake was predominantly served by pumpers and hoses that went over 1,000 feet into the woods. Dory and I were out there one morning, and we never heard discussion of hydrants.
Thank God, yeah, they were prepared. So the pressure is not an issue like how it was in LA, it was not a issue of no availability of water. It was the fact that they just weren't maintaining them. So it is smart to ask about preparation.
Because in the summer we have droughts and, do we have water in those fire hydrants to take care of it? That's all. Thank you.
Thank you,
Rhonda.
Rhonda, just one thing from your last public comment, I did look into, there is pre-existing precedent for if the board is interested, there are laws mandating covered trash. So you did bring that up, so I will be sending that to the board and probably to council, and we'll see if we can discuss that. But there are examples out there. New York City, obviously, is the biggest one, but there are even local examples of requiring covered trash.
Do I have anything else?
Oh, we have a hand up. Did you want to
You want
come
us-
and talk at public comment?
You gotta
You
come
gotta
here
come
so we
up.
could hear you. Great. Bathroom.
That's not a public comment. I hope,
was
Val,
great.
I hope you got that into the record.
Okay. There's no further discussion. I'll make a motion to adjourn this evening's meeting.
I'll second.
Okay.
19.
Second.
Call the question.
Hingham, aye?
Scancarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Okay, have a good evening, everyone. Thanks to everyone that came to honor the girls.